let's move on to a little bit kind of away from his fighting ability and more onto his character outside the ring, because with Tyson Fury we can't really ignore that. It's such a fundamental part of him as a boxer. And over to you, Jim. Do you think obviously his trash talking and all of that and all his antics outside the ring have a key are very key to his overall performance in the ring? Or do you think he'd be just as good of a fighter if he didn't, and be able to beat people in the way he did, even if he didn't do, taking the mick and the, you're a bum Wilder and all of that, you're a big dosser? Would you make of that?
Look, I think Tyson Fury's persona outside of the ring is for one reason, and that's to sell the fight. He's actually I don't think there's any link between that sort of charismatic, quite provocative, pre-match press conference, that doesn't mean anything when he steps in the ring. I think those two, the character of Tyson Fury in the ring versus him outside of the ring, they're two different animals. He builds that persona quite rightfully to get interest in his fights and build his profile. You could take all the trash talk away and he would still be putting people on their bum. So I don't, and I think also at the elite level of boxing, when you're fighting the caliber of fighters that he is, they are not really affected by those mind games. These guys are supreme athletes. They work, they're in those training camps and their focus is on one thing, and that is victory. And, all the trash talking, look, I hate to spoil it for everyone, but that is just, there's very few genuine rivalries and hatred between fighters. It does happen, but a lot of the time...
You just fucking ruin boxing.
Do you know what, Johan? I think you should watch WWE, mate. That is far more up your street. In answer to your question, Mike, look, if you took all of that away, all the trash talk, Tyson Fury would still be doing what he's doing in the ring now, which is not.
What about Klitschko though, Jim? What about that Klitschko fight?
Yeah,
a lot of people would say.
I think if you took away the Batman costume, he would still be unified world heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
no doubt.
You're probably right.
It may to a certain extent, but again, if you replayed that with no pre-press conferences, what does anyone here think that Klitschko would win?
No.
Bro, yeah, no, I think it's unlikely. No, yeah.
I think
right.
I don't think Klitschko would have won, but I don't agree entirely with what you're saying.
Yeah, I get what Jimmy's point is, because he's saying in more regards to Tyson Fury as a fighter, because Tyson Fury is phenomenal, and I don't think there's anyone on his resume, as Jimmy said, if there wasn't a press conference, he wouldn't have beaten. But I think there is still a lot in that trash talking, and I think it does still. You saw the way Vlad looked at Tyson Fury, and he was infuriated in those press conferences. He looked at someone like Tyson Fury and was like, you don't respect the sport of boxing, you don't respect the art. And it was the first time people were looking at Vlad and going, you're nothing to me, you mean nothing to me, you may have beaten all these people, but I'm different, I'm Tyson Fury. And I think that definitely did play a role, and I think the question there is how much can we give to it?
But fuck that cold-blooded Vladimir. If you're telling me that fence between David Haye and Chisora was a fucking show, they get out of here.
Or when they nailed down the tables for Chisora White.
Yeah,
I don't think that was for WWE effect. No, I thought that was real hatred there. But yeah, no, that's a fair assessment, Jim, and a nice different kind of look into the whole trash talking thing with Tyson Fury.